All right.
Yeah. What's going on? Let's talk about stuff.
Hello and welcome to the Video Gamer UK podcast. My name is Chris Bratt, and today you join us as we celebrate 20 years of PlayStation history. So I thought it might be nice today. What? You're on your phones. What is it? Come on. 20 years of PlayStation.
I'm celebrating the 20th anniversary of PlayStation.
We're going to go around the room and we can share some fun memories.
I shared mine last night on the internet.
Yeah,
already.
This one really annoyed me.
We're on the internet now.
Can I just read them out then?
So much effort to recall the memory.
Tom Orry, editor-in-chief of VideoGamer.com. You must have some memories tucked away.
Did you introduce us all or not?
Well, I'm doing it now as we go around the circle.
So it's going to be a long intro, isn't it?
Well, not really. This is how conversations work.
What if my
we'll just
little
talk.
nugget of story is massive?
It's fine. We'll just roll with it.
All right. I bought a PlayStation.
Yep.
How old were you, Tom?
I don't know. How many years ago was it?
20.
No, it wasn't. Though, was it?
Oh, when
Not
you bought
for
the
us.
actual... Oh, yeah, it was...
It was like
19?
It was like
Or-
19 years, maybe a bit more. So I'd have been 13-ish,
Yeah.
I guess.
A prime age
12 or 13. I'm
for a
not
new
sure.
video
I can't
games
remember.
console.
And I remember that. I remember the demo disc with the dinosaur.
Oh, yeah.
I remember. Was it that game? Was it Loaded? Or
Yeah.
Reloaded?
That was a bit old for you, though, Tom.
I didn't play by the rules, Dave.
Wow.
Um,
Blood and everything.
They demoed that in fucking Toys R Us. You can just play it.
It'd be like a 7+ game
looked
now. Back then,
amazing.
18.
Looked amazing. That game did, even though it was quite simple. It looked really good.
Is that Smash TV, right?
Yeah.
Did you share this console with your brother
yeah,
James?
of course. Yeah.
Okay, that's
I mean,
nice.
that's the advantage of having a twin. If you both like the same stuff, you can get the same stuff half price, essentially.
Yeah, I guess so.
It kind of works quite well. I remember buying Jumping Flash from Electronics Boutique
Yep.
before our PlayStation arrived,
days.
because we bought the PlayStation from, I can't remember, I'm going to say Special Reserve.
Oh,
like a
classic.
retailer where you had to like send in
What?
a paper
What is this?
form
So you had to cut it out of a magazine, a
I
paper
beg your
slip.
pardon?
to order something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't you just pre-order it from
used to
game?
get, used to get the
or something?
catalogue inside magazines and stuff, and then you could call them.
What are
but-
magazines?
Yeah.
Games magazines.
I remember buying that. I remember buying a football game. I don't think it was a good one. I think it was like Striker something, maybe. I'm not sure if that came
What
out
is-
at launch, but I remember a football game.
Adidas Power Soccer.
No, that was later.
I've got that. It is a classic.
That was
It's
good.
terrible.
It doesn't
but,
sound like a classic.
No,
That's
you can
really
score
good.
headers from the halfway line. That's
Yeah.
one of the
I rented that at
appeals.
least twice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Back when you rented
I
games.
did get some good games. Obviously, Jumping Flash was a good game.
Yeah.
Obviously, Wipeout, Ridge Racer to Shinden. But actually, my first
Retraces a Shinder.
my first memory was Blockbuster had were renting PlayStations. I think they had them before they were out or something.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
And my mum's friend's husband, yeah, he was like the store manager of a local Blockbuster.
classic.
And we were like, me and James were pretty much going to order a Saturn. We'll say fanboys.
Oh,
We're
right.
going to order Saturn. And we had like, we're going to get like, well, the launch game is Daytona.
Bug.
And something like
Sonic.
that. And Sonic.
I don't know.
Shut up, Barrows.
I don't understand the 90s.
We were going to order a Saturn anyway, but then he said we can borrow one for free because he owned the store, he ran the store, so he's going to let us borrow one for a couple of days. And it came with Ridge Racer, and that was it.
What a lovely
Cancelled
chap.
that Saturn, scrabbled up,
You're on Team
screwed up that bit of
PlayStation.
paper that had the order on for that.
Just
filled
went
out
out.
a new one, PlayStation, boom,
There you are.
done.
Wow.
That changed the console wars. That was
The-
it, wasn't it?
That guy at Blockbuster.
Exactly.
was the-
That's how history works, my
turned the
friends.
tide. Shit. Man, I haven't got any of these memories, by the
Yeah,
way.
also, my PlayStation was one of the shit ones with the dodgy laser, so it got sent back like quite soon afterwards.
Oh,
There's
that's-
never
No, there's a
Sony,
fix for that. Turn it upside down.
Yeah, but that's
What?
not fixed. Dave.
Sony
It's
have
turned
never
upside
made
down.
reliable hardware. Like my PlayStation 2 was broken when I got it, and when you wanted the PlayStation 2 at launch, you had to jump through a lot of hoops. You have to sign a form in triplicate. You will remember this if you were there.
I remember it.
I was at Choices Video with my mother. She was like, "Oh yeah,
Used
so
to work at Choices Video.
there you go." Not the one in St Neots.
No.
Otherwise, that would be weird. But yeah, finally got it. I got it as my Christmas present. Fucking didn't. Well, it did work, but it was really, really loud. Like there was something wrong with the fan. And yeah, my PlayStation 3 had to go back. My original PlayStation was broken as well. Everyone's like, "Oh, Sony, the build quality is great." Not in their consoles, not shit. It's total shit.
There was another thing where they couldn't guarantee when you'd get it as well.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You had
Thanks
say
to the
that
300 quid.
Yeah.
Whenever
This
it turns
is
up.
PS2 though, isn't it?
Yeah.
PS2, yeah.
All right. Well, back onto the original PlayStation then.
Yeah.
I got one.
Yep.
I got one in Christmas '96. So a bit later, But I remember saying to my parents before Christmas, I was like, I would like a PlayStation, but I know they're expensive. So if I don't get one,
reasonable child.
I know I was very.
I mean, you're guilting them immediately there because you're like,
no.
I'm not saying you have to get one, but
I'm not like one of these new children who like fucking like all on social media on like life hacker trying
Where's
to
my
how
iPad?
to top 10 ways to guilt your parents. Like I was just like I know.
But what you just did was probably number one on that list. Like,
I mean, but I didn't know I was doing it.
Because
In fact, no. I mean, if you'd have met my father, he wouldn't be guilted into anything. It was just like, all right, Steve.
But
whatever.
You're like showing that you're a nice child and that they've done a good job, but you're also like explaining that you'll be a bit disappointed if it doesn't.
Braz, my father once put me in jail. Like seriously, when I was about 6 years old. So wasn't really one for being
so much.
for being well, Steve has got his wrapped around his little finger. Anyway, I got it, and it was amazing. I got my parents weren't sure which games to get me though. Because they wanted it to be a surprise and asking me which games I wanted would be a bit of a... So they hired me a couple of games. One was a really, really shitty starfighting simulator that I can't remember the name of. I think it was by Namco. Had a really stupid name. Began with an X. Like Xevious or something like that. Something really bad. And the other was Tekken 2. Pow.
Yeah.
I was like, shit.
They got that one right.
But I used to buy all the magazines before... I had the console, and
leave them around the house in obvious places. Fucking hell, Steve! Come on, man.
Oh, come on now. But yeah, the buzz around that PlayStation was incredible. Like Sega was just fucked. Like the second that all of the positive notices started coming out of the Japanese launch, like as
Ridge Racer
just went. It was on the cover of Edge, wasn't it? That amazing kind of vista of it sweeping into the tunnel.
It didn't
and everyone was
actually
like,
look like that exactly.
No, but everyone was like. But in your mind, you're going, no, it does look exactly like that.
The way you could justify these things back then, for me anyway, with the cost, because I used to do a lot of, I was quite a dull child, I imagine. I used to do a lot of like spreadsheets on paper, or Excel documents, but on paper.
Right.
So it's like budgeting. And I used to work out like
there you go.
what I had to sell to get this amount of money, how much pocket money I had to save, how many extra jobs I'd have to do, how much like paper around money and stuff. So I'd worked out all this stuff. And one of the bits I remember putting was how many goes on the arcade machine I'd have to do to pay for the cost, like to wait the same cost as buying it. Obviously, it was like basically arcade games in your home back then, wasn't it? This isn't a thing now, but back then, like Ridge Race was an arcade game, Tekken was an arcade, all that kind of stuff. So you go like, it cost me this much to play it in the arcade, but if I buy it, I'm going to save this amount of money
after this many plays.
Because I'd have just spent all this £300, and I would never have spent that in an arcade.
What a valuable lesson to learn at that age.
Yeah.
Man, I still haven't learned that.
My parents were great because I was originally going to buy a 32X. Remember those?
I beg your pardon?
I was very close to buying one of those.
Me too.
Many times.
32X.
32X, which was a Mega Drive add-on. And it had the Knuckles Chaotix game, which was like a Sonic spin-off.
Fuck.
And I loved Sonic, seriously. I brought up last week about I was the original Let's Player. I've now found those videos.
Have you?
There is me running across a bridge in a Sonic t-shirt and Sonic shorts, pretending I've got to go fast, as if I'm Sonic.
That's not a Let's Play, Dave.
No, I know.
That's not what a Let's Play
That's
is.
cosplay, isn't it?
Yeah,
There's a bit
you were
of
the
both.
first cosplayer.
Yeah, there's both. Anyway. Yeah, so I wanted a 32X, and my mum was like, these PlayStations are getting a bit of buzz. Are you sure you don't want one of those instead?
Man.
And obviously you talk a bit better
You're
about...
like, shut up, Mum, you don't understand
Yeah,
games.
she was like looking through the Littlewoods catalogue or whatever. It's like, here's a PlayStation.
No
Look,
Sonic on that, is
Hopefully
there?
not after you, Dave.
I remember I was sitting there on my parents' bed with my mum. It was one random Saturday morning, I think. She was like, have you seen these? These look good, don't they? And yeah, they were 300 quid. It was quite soon after launch.
In Litwood's catalogue, they're at least 300
Well,
quid.
I know, yeah.
For about 800 quid.
I think I got it from Blockbuster in the end. 300 quid. And... but my parents lent me that 300 quid, and each week I'd pay £1 back out of my pocket money. So it went on for about
Have you paid that
5
off
years.
yet? That's amazing.
Is that how you buy your games now as well?
That's how you've done. Man,
My
your
pocket money.
pre-orders must have really racked up on
Yeah.
that.
First game, Battle Arena to Shinden.
Yeah.
Really wanted Destruction
Look at
Derby.
these
but-
lessons. You learnt about budgeting. Dave learnt about like the risks of taking out
Loans.
large loans.
Payday loans.
Yeah, this is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember playing it like in Toys R Us though before they actually came out. They had the pods up. Played Toshinden.
Yeah. Did that convince you?
Toshinden did look nice at the time.
I remember thinking the controllers were amazing because up till then you'd had like a Mega Drive controller with like 2 or 3 buttons on it and a D-pad. And PlayStation, the original PlayStation 1 was still a D-pad, but it felt different because it had the 2 sort of, what do you call them?
Prongs.
The grips. Yeah.
They looked really exotic.
Yeah.
What is? Because it's just a SNES pad, right, with those prongs on it.
Essentially.
Because that's what the original design for the Nintendo PlayStation was. It was to differentiate it a bit more. The pad had the things on it, but seeing it in the ads, you're like, wow. And the look of the machine itself, like I showed Braz the Saturn yesterday.
I've had such a learning experience.
Yeah, Braz had never seen a Saturn in person.
We didn't know that bloody Anton Deck sang a song.
I know,
Oh my God.
But like Braz
blew your mind.
He's barely conscious at that point. But the look of the Saturn, you could see how that was an evolution from the Mega Drive, especially the EU one. But the look of the PlayStation, I mean, it's a very memorable looking machine. I'm not sure it's like a great looking machine.
No, it was quite an ugly machine,
that
really, wasn't
great.
it? But at the time, it was amazing.
I saw the black model of it that was towards the end of its lifespan, right after it had reached a certain amount of sales.
Well, what, the PlayStation?
Yeah.
There's a black one. Was it Euros?
Net Eurosi or something.
I like that a lot.
The home development one,
Right.
which actually looked a lot better.
I think so.
But it looked the design of that PlayStation looked very modular. It looked like it was just a Discman with 2 bits bolted on either end. But it was a fucking great design.
The PS1 redesign was quite nice, I thought, but I'm not sure if I'd think that way these days.
I didn't
Perhaps
like
it
the
looked a
colour
bit
of
kiddie.
it. Yeah, it was a bit off.
Bit round.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember those action replays? I had an action replay.
Fucking
You
A.
slotted it into the back. You
Yeah.
essentially put your own code in, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And modify the
You
whole
can
game.
hex edit your own
Mate of
games.
mine nicked it, so I nicked his Rayman 2 on 64.
He won.
All these
He
lessons.
won, mate. But a lot of that stuff was changed from the Japanese release, wasn't it? Because like the parallel port was moved after a few,
Yeah.
and the way you connected it was changed from obviously regional variations in the US. But they also made it a lot more difficult to do the disc swapping. I remember Play Magazine telling you how to run import games in full color, like step by step, like this is how you fucking do it. And they were using these black discs at the time, which I presume were promo or pre-release discs. They were like, yeah, just put
Black discs, they were black, weren't they?
Yeah.
PlayStation.
No, as
discs.
not the data side. The
Right, the front label side.
The label side. But they were like, yeah, now stick a bit of blue tack in there. Yeah, right. And then it was in like surgical details. Like, okay, so the disc has like 2 different read speeds, and they cycle when it has the 2 different intros. So once it goes from the white screen to the black, it will spin down. That's when you got to. But it's done the copy protection. So you got to rip out the disc.
While it was still spinning.
Yeah, and you got to slam another one in. Then when it spins back up, you got to do the same. And it's like, hopefully it'll work. But,
Those black discs, though, they were the rental discs as well. Because
they?
renting was
they
a big
were,
thing back
weren't
then.
they? Yeah. But these ones had like a gold effect on them. So I presume they were mastering discs or whatever.
I remember like my Blockbuster didn't rent out multiple discs of a multi-disc game. So they only gave you the first disc.
What?
That
Why?
is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I don't know. I remember.
Get in the ground,
I remember
Blockbuster.
cheating my way through G Police, which was a 2-disc game, and just wanted to see the later levels. So I put cheat code in. It's like insert disc 2. I was like, I haven't got disc 2. What are we talking about? So I went back to Blockbuster with my dad. I must have been, I don't know, at this point maybe 10, 11. I can't remember.
Stormed in.
And my dad said, yeah, we haven't got disc 2. And they're like, well, we were told that no one would get to disc 2 during the rental period. So we've only got the first disc. It's like,
that's crazy.
what? That's a thing? But yeah, apparently it was.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I just remember going to Blockbuster all the time, seeing Resident Evil come out and it's on the top shelf. And back then, you'd have they'd put the box of the game and then they'd have like the rental boxes behind it. Right? And you'd take the rental box up to the thing.
Yeah.
And I remember going there on a Friday night. Gran Turismo had just come out. I really wanted to rent it. They'd all gone. I was like, oh no, the boxes are all lined up. Oh, they're all gone. Like, Dad, we should have got there half hour earlier. Resident Evil.
Dad.
I remember Resident Evil sitting on the top shelf and thinking,
Just out of reach.
well, yeah, it was out of reach. Like, can I ask my dad if I can rent that one? No.
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 I remember buying Resident Evil in Crawley,
Really?
popular town of Crawley.
Yep.
I bought it for 25 quid.
I went round like because obviously
Wasn't Resident Evil
obviously
inspired by the town of
thinking
Crawley?
thinking of pennies all the time.
Mm.
Went around to every store, obviously numerous times, checking all the prices. Circle back round to the best place. Probably about 50p cheaper. Get it from there.
It's
Can't
50p
remember. It
though
was
in
like
those days.
We ended up getting it from a. It was like a camera shop that also sold games. It was really weird. I can't remember what it was called now. It wasn't in the mall. It was like outside somewhere. And that's where I got Resident Evil from. Good story, that.
I once fell out with a best mate over a PS1 rental. I have told this story, I think, to you guys before, but if you're eating right now, maybe stop eating or listen to something else.
Okay.
But I went to town with a friend, very good friend at the time. I would have been 10, 11 years old.
At the time.
Yeah. And went to Blockbuster, and he really wanted me to rent V-Rally 2. And I didn't really want to rent V-Rally 2.
V-Rally 1 was rubbish.
It was, but turns out V-Rally 2 was really good.
Yeah, quite good.
Anyway, I rented it at a later date, but that's not the point. At the time, I couldn't really afford it. And he was really pissed off that I didn't rent it. So we're walking back to get the bus back home. And as we're waiting at the bus stop, he's chewing all this chocolate in his mouth. And he flems up the biggest gob you could imagine, and he spits it over
For people who
me.
aren't familiar with that phrase.
What is this, Dave? I've
Yeah.
not heard this story.
Haven't you?
Horrible.
This
Yeah.
is,
What did you rent in the end?
Nothing, didn't rent
Oh.
anything. So he made out I wasted his time.
Oh,
Even
yeah,
though we'd
that's
been up to
true.
town in general, because
Yeah.
I hadn't rented a game that he could play.
Being mall rats.
And he gobbed all over me, all this
So
big
this
chocolate.
is a mix of chocolate and snot.
spit.
Right, okay.
And it was disgusting. And we got on the bus, had to sit next to each other for the journey, and never spoke to each other again. We're like best mates. That was it.
You
That's
never
like,
spoke to him ever.
that was like 16 years ago. I don't know what he's doing now.
All because
Scammell-
of V-Rally 2.
I saw on his Facebook he got married not that long ago, but
You would have been his best man. If that had been
possibly.
for that.
It's quite possible.
Scully, you need to reach out to him after this podcast and put that behind you.
Yeah.
Well, he shouldn't have gobbed on me,
No,
should
you
he?
need to
No,
find
I
him
know.
and fucking kill him. That's what you need to do.
You're the bigger man, Dave.
I was disgusted. I had to tell my mum it was something I'd fallen over or something.
She knew, Dave.
She-
She knew. She was like,
Why are you
that
covered in chocolate
V-Rally.
and snot? I fell over. Right.
That V-Rally.
God, tearing friendships apart.
I know, yeah.
That's,
But bringing people together, LAN Red Alert was great.
Land Doom.
One disc Allies, one disc
Red
Soviet.
Alert was what all the geeks played.
No, you had two
Sorry.
PlayStations, one in each bedroom.
this sounds freaking cool.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Oh, I missed out, man.
And the music games, you could make your own music. Music 2000.
Yeah,
was
I had that.
Yeah.
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 I came into the PlayStation so very late. I think it was like it was Final Fantasy that just kind of swayed it for me, and that was like decided that I'd get a PlayStation 2.
I was 11 when Final Fantasy 7 came out.
I didn't even care about Final Fantasy 7. I was
you were too young for it.
which is-
I was past that. I was 13, mate.
You
I
must
was
have been
like,
what?
What is this shit?
Were you 5, 6?
I think CVG sold me on that.
97.
See, do you remember the CVG issue that had the review and gave it like 96? Or
Yeah.
something? And then I got this postcard in the mail with just a Final Fantasy advert on it. It's like, this looks good. Buy this.
I remember the
Did you
official.
buy it?
Yeah, it was rubbish.
Yeah.
Which Final Fantasy?
7.
Oh,
Seven's already, like, the advert has sold it to so many people. Like, oh, yeah, he's riding a motorbike. And then I remember CVG running a story.
yeah.
It's like,
He does ride a motorbike. It was great.
Cloud's VMAX motorbike. It cost £11,000. And I was like, I thought motorbikes cost more than that. And
Sounds pretty cheap.
yeah, but for the way they were bigging it up. But and then they were like, oh yeah, it's going to be the game of the year. And it's just, I remember renting it and thinking, this can fuck off. Like this could.
I feel like
this
that's
can
your problem with the
fuck
genre rather than like
off.
the 7's.
Like there's
Oh,
a bit at the start where it's like,
expecting-
we have to press a button together. And I was like, wait, where's the guy with the sword? Like where's the
Jesus
motorbike
Christ.
bit?
Oh no, you were expecting a game about just riding around on a motorbike.
Dude, all
hitting
I'm
people
saying
with
is
a
that
sword.
when you're 13 and the adverts consist of nothing more than a man riding around on a motorbike with a sword, when you get it, you
Yeah.
don't expect to have to spend hours in a shop building
You
up your
come-
fucking weird man of shit.
you come for the motorbikes and the swords, and you stick around for the relationships and the impactful storyline. Like
I can't have been very far in it, but I got
You
to
know?
a bit in the game where you're in the rafters of maybe a church or something.
yeah,
That's
Oh,
about
God.
5 minutes in.
Yeah,
And
that
I just
really
went,
isn't.
I just went,
It's such a huge game,
fuck this,
Steve.
fuck this, I'm out. Like it was. I got to some town and I'll tell you what really annoyed me about it. That fucking little hand. I was like, what is this? Like,
Oh,
it just annoyed me
how
so
can you
much.
pick apart such a massive game that does so many different things? And you've picked like
I agree
a
with
bit when you're
Burns.
in a church, and the
100%.
pointer on the menu.
The pointer on the menu is like, oh, this is meant to be like a game where, there are emotions. And every time you fucking hit the menu button, Mickey Mouse's disembodied hand goes bing, bing, bing. It's shite. Like, That's Final. Do you know,
How could that
I'll tell you-
possibly
look,
be the thing that
do you know?
turns
Do you know
off it?
why I know that we're right, Tom? Is that because even Square, the fuckers that made it, agree with us? Because why have they not remade it? Because they know it's a load of old shit. And
But every Final Fantasy has a hand in it.
And well, you can and you can't.
I like the opening of Final Fantasy VIII, where the guy gets
Yeah.
a massive scar. But even then, I played it for about. I played that
and
one.
then you're in university. Like, you go from really cool CGI battle to being, in the
and a bit of
university and worrying
CGI
about
with the big
who
turret
fancies
gun
you.
thing, and I was like, fucking shite.
Oh,
Shite.
God.
9 was the best one.
I agree. I absolutely.
Oh, I didn't even attempt 9.
You see, Nine's
saw those
marketing
graphics
wouldn't
and
be the
went-
same thing. Yeah, it's. I think
9 was really good. I can't remember any of it, but it was really good. That came out the same day as MotoGP on PS2, and it was my birthday actually. And I was like, which one do I get? I nearly picked up MotoGP.
I would have thought, knowing like you're big into your racing stuff. Like I would have thought MotoGP would have been prime choice there.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
motorbikes in it, fucking shite.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
Final Fantasy 9 has airships. Okay, I understand.
My dad told me not to buy NBA Live 96 because on Boxing Day I had some Christmas money as well. So off I went, had to pick up a memory card. Brilliant. It was
Oh, memory cards.
20 quid
Oh,
or something
fuck.
dead.
I'm
20,
glad we
20 or
left
40.
those
Yeah, we glossed
PS
over that,
Vita.
don't we? With the
And there were two, and we went into a little shop called First Compute, which is an independent shop, which in the years to come would serve me well by breaking the street date by months, essentially. And yeah.
Is that where you got the Evil Within?
Yeah, that is where I got the Evil Within on Boxing Day, 1996. But yeah, we went and had a little look in the second-hand stuff. And the only ones I could afford were NBA Live 96, which had a weird cover. It was
I bought
blue.
that one. That was great.
With a,
it had like almost a texture of basketball.
Yeah.
In it. I love that.
and I was like, I'm going to get this because it looked really good. My dad was like, Steve, you don't even like basketball.
It was a
I
good
was
game,
like,
though.
shit. So in the end, I bought Lone Soldier. Quite
not
possibly
Lone Soldier. No,
one of the worst video games that has ever been made.
I hate that game.
I was playing it thinking,
I wish I
Games
liked
should be better.
basketball.
games should be better than this now. But
Did you actually buy Lone Soldier?
yeah.
Because
I'm that
I
guy.
bring that up quite a lot because James made us buy that as well. Because the cover looks like it's like an Arnie
Uh-huh.
kind of.
Looks like Ben
isn't it?
Lawrence from 2K as
look-
well.
It looks like it's
incredible
going to be
in-joke.
like an action movie type game, but it's so bad. It's just I can't believe. I still find it annoying that we spent money. We bought it from a shop called Game Trader, which was like the local. It used to be a market store and turned into a store, and we'd like always trade in whatever we'd finish with and get it towards the next thing. And that was the one that week we decided to. He decided his turn, I think. So he wanted this, and then that effectively proved he knew nothing.
Yeah, it was really bad. It had a strange control system where the PlayStation was a third-person shooter where the main character was just Arnie, and I remember him being like massive in the frame, so you couldn't really see what you were doing. And it had these gigantic, very low-res score counters and stuff and health bars. It looked like a demo, essentially, that someone would have made. And yeah, to turn the gun, because there's no analog. You had to press L1 and R1 to kind of sweep across. If you press L2 or R2, it went quicker. But neither was tuned enough, so it was either too quick or far too slow. And it's like, oh my life. And when he dies, he went, you will guard me. And then went on down onto one knee. I was like, you know what? This game can fuck off. And then I traded it and got Resident Evil, didn't
Is
I?
that how you ended every game session? This game can fuck
Yeah,
off.
because
every time.
like,
Yeah.
let's
Still-
face
still does
it,
it to this
the
day.
original PlayStation had a load of old shit on it. Like,
Yeah.
even more so. Because anyone
FIFA
could...
96.
FIFA 96. FIFA 97, I got that. If someone sold me...
96 was terrible.
Yeah, 97 was
the first
Schindler on
one
the
was
cover.
the worst one. The first FIFA on
I think
PlayStation
it was 96, right?
was where it wasn't polygons. It was like
Yeah, it was.
pixels in 3D. It was on bollocks, and it was awful.
But you had what?
It was
97
odd, yeah. It was weird.
Okay.
In 97, when you press the, because that was like the first real 3D one they had, when you press the pass button, it literally took 2 seconds to respond. And I bought a copy of Doom on PlayStation, which is quite good. All new
Brilliant.
music.
Doom's
And,
brilliant on PlayStation.
and yeah, they used to have those double packaging, so you could open the front part of the jewel case, and then there was another bit on the back.
Oh, they were great.
They were great, weren't they? And in
Metal
there-
Gear. Silent Hill demo in the
So it
back.
was for like 2 disc stuff.
Yeah.
And in there was a copy of FIFA 97. And I thought, oh, he's obviously just put this in here. So I was like, well, I'll give it a little go and then I'll give it back to him in school tomorrow. I played it and I actually thought, he's just offloaded this because it's so bad. He can't have it in his
You
house
can't give it
anymore.
away. You have to trick people.
Yeah, he's like, nah, man, I don't want that back. Trust me, burn it.
As a kid, though, you traded a lot more games in, or I did at least, than I do now. And there was this one... Huh?
Everything. I traded everything.
Yeah. There was this one indie store where I lived, and it didn't use pricing. It wasn't like, that costs that much, and we'll give you that much towards
bartering
it.
Or something?
No. It used a star system. So it was like 1 star to, I don't know, 7 or 8 stars, or something like that. And it cost £3 just to engage in the trade. And then for each star you went up, it was another £3. So if you went from a 3-star game to a 6-star game, you'd have to pay like 12, 15 quid or something like that. And I don't know, it kind of worked quite well because you could swap like for like, essentially, and just pay 3 quid. And you
That's not that bad, actually.
And you just go back and
Except for like every new customer into the shop, you'd have to have like a 5-minute discussion with going through the rules.
I remember going back and forth thinking, actually, I want my old game back, and just paying the 3 quid again and getting it. I went back one time and my game had been sold and I was gutted.
On the
I was
same-
like,
on the
oh
same
no.
day?
No, a couple of
okay.
days later. But yeah, it's quite a cool little system then. But
Yeah, fair enough.
don't know whether it would work now.
I still traded in a lot of stuff until like maybe a couple of years ago when I started here. Like, I don't know. I think people still do. CX
I
does
still
all right.
trade everything just because it costs money to keep games.
It certainly does. Yep.
Yeah, well,
I bought a game
I don't play games
digitally the other
anymore,
day
so-
that I already owned the disc for, just because I couldn't be asked to get out of my chair and put the disc in.
That
that
is
is
like
so
a publisher's
disappointing.
dream, aren't you?
I told my girlfriend this, and I said, well,
Did she dump you immediately?
no, I said,
I go,
but
I want-
hang, it was Titanfall. The game in question was Titanfall. £10 it was, deluxe edition. I bought it. And I said, the thing is, I'll get the season pass with it. She's like, oh, that's all right. That's not so bad. Fair enough.
Okay, so right.
I
So
said,
the tenner.
I have already bought the season pass. Like, what are you doing?
Literally, so you can just boot it up
Look,
without...
well, the thing with Titanfall, you sit
Standing
there,
up.
you sit there at home, you think, right, I could spend 10 minutes on Titanfall, fancy a game of Titanfall.
Mm-hmm.
But then by the time you got out your seat, put the disc in, it loads out, you think, oh, I can't be asked to play Titanfall anymore.
How far away is your console
Probably from where we're sitting right now.
That's not that far.
About 2 feet, 3 feet.
Jesus, man.
right, hold on.
It's the ultimate in laziness.
While we're talking about
Dave's
the original
downfalls.
PlayStation
Oh.
and all that, I think we should do a discussion.
Yep.
About magazines of the day, and also about demo discs.
Well, OPM, going back
Uh-huh.
to what you said about Final Fantasy,
Mhm.
I remember the review came in, it was in one of the magazines, 10 out of 10.
Obviously.
We just got a photocopy machine in at school. And it was 10p per page to photocopy. I thought, I'll try this out. I just photocopied OPM's review. Shoved it in my bag. Like, yep. I'd already bought the magazine, photocopied the review. Why not?
That's very similar to what you did with Titanfall. It's like, I might not want to go and get the magazine, so I've always got it in my
Cost me
pocket.
like 50p, like 5-page review. Yeah. Oh, God, that's a good experience. I've photocopied something now.
I think, when it comes down to it, you now know how to
photocopy.
But like when you said about not wanting to get out of your chair and having all the, just having all that around you, it reminded me of the days when you had to go out and buy demos. I think the first demo, the first issue.
I got a subscription, Burns.
Did
I just
you?
sat in my house and it turned up.
Really? No,
You've always been a lazy
because
man.
I always thought that OPM was a bag of shit. Like even then, I was reading it thinking this is shit.
Why? I didn't read it back then. What was
It was its design. Other magazines used to
laminate
take
the
the piss
covers.
out.
You got to remember back then there were about a million
what last
PlayStation
year?
magazines, weren't there?
Yeah,
Protective plastic wrap on it. It was amazing. I'll have to bring them in. I've still got them.
Dave,
He used to laminate
serial killer's lair. It's like Jane Gum. But OPM was shite, and the reason I didn't subscribe was because I only ever wanted the demo disc. All of their opinions I thought were total wank.
Really?
Even at the time I was like, this is obvious lies.
I'll tell you what, I've got that little...
the little booklet.
we need to take pictures of that.
We will.
Was
We
it like in
will.
partnership with Signosis or
Yeah.
something? And
Totally
it's like
unbiased in partnership with a company Sony.
all the
fucking
reviews in
outline.
there are Signosis games and they're all rated 8 or above. Like, what?
Jeez.
But I mean,
Okay.
so like, but what else was there, Tom? So I was
It was
never
like PSX or something. PSX,
PSX
was
was-
a big... Lots, I think a few magazines possibly.
PlayStation
PSX.
World.
It was like PlayStation... Total PlayStation magazine.
Total Play. Yeah, that's one of the first I
PSW,
ever
which
heard.
obviously was PlayStation World, I think.
What's the one with the free memory card on the front?
PlayStation World.
PSW.
Yeah.
PlayStation Plus.
No, there was PlayStation World. Yeah,
PlayStation Plus.
PlayStation Plus was alright.
It was a really thick one. It had loads of
There was
girls
a-
in
that
it
was
as well.
thin. There was a
It
thinner
weird.
one that looked like a smaller version, like more like a comic sized, but I can't remember what that was called. It
Yeah.
might have been PSX. I don't know. PlayStation Extreme probably.
Yeah.
All these names can't exist now, don't they? This is
They were proper lads mags back then, though.
Some of them were.
There was one where it just
Really
had
were.
where it just had naked models on almost
That's
every
what I was
page.
talking about, PSW.
One of them drew. I don't think there was PS. What,
Oh, no, I got a picture of it. We put this in the podcast before.
which was the one that started that was really thick and it gave away the memory card and it had Gran Turismo on the cover and it gave a red memory
Yeah,
card. away.
PSW, I'm sure it was.
No, but PSW
the red
that-
memory card, that's what
yeah,
I'm talking about.
There was another one which drew its own covers. I remember its Resident Evil 2 cover had Claire, who was now blonde, with a very low cut top on, squeezing her breasts together. And I thought, I don't really think this is sanctioned art. And I was like, this isn't.
This
what-
doesn't look
I
legit.
was like- I remember I grew up with like Mean Machines and stuff, so I was well, attuned to people drawing their own covers. What's that? Hold on. I can't see it, Dave.
Oh, look, take the phone.
Hold on. This is Dave. This is radio.
Yeah.
Hold on. I need to know this.
Is this the cover?
So no, that is the one. Shit.
I-
You have a look at that, Brad. It's gone. That's smut. But
Oh yeah, fucking hell! We have shown this before. This is Xbox Gamer, which has got some
Win some foreplay with Lara,
some
I
lady
think the cover
Ooh,
says.
Hey.
resting her breasts on the controller. Yeah, that's what.
Don't
I
go
think
too far,
there
Braz. You
wasn't-
might cover things you don't want to see. Can I have my phone back?
there wasn't a great PlayStation magazine until PSM2 launched just before the PlayStation 2 launched. PSM2 for a good few years there was amazingly good until it started apologising for almost every review it did. Like 2 months after a review, it'd be like, oh, I think we got that one wrong. Assassin's Creed, I think we got that one wrong.
When Edge gave GTA 3 6 out of 10.
Oh yeah.
They're like, oh, it should have been 8.
Yeah, I never see Edge was always around, and I never got into Edge because even I thought
Jeez.
it was too
I thought you
twatty
were
at the
target
time.
demographic.
Edge used to be quite good.
It used to be Edge was much better before the internet was a big thing, because it used to have stuff that all the magazines didn't have. Like it used to have stuff on like 3D graphics cards and
Peter
like,
Gabriel was in it
VR
talking
and-
about fucking 3D graphics at one point, and all that was kind of cool. Its feature stuff and its investigation stuff was cool, and its front end was really good. But then, this was around about the time when it reviewed fucking Doom and said, if only you can talk to the monsters or whatever. You're like, fuck off, mate. Like, Doom is about running. Doom is Metallica, the video game, yeah? You've got this
But
wrong.
imagine if they didn't say that. We might have, games we never
Imagine
have
if you'd
become
reviewed
like,
Final Fantasy VII at the time.
Yeah.
If only we could just ride around on a motorbike and hit things with swords.
Much better game. Much better game. All I'm
not sure
saying
it is,
is,
though. I'm not sure it would be, though, would it?
I don't
really,
think it
it's
really would
not. It's look
Because that bit with the motorbike and the sword was shit.
The question is, would the world be any worse if Final Fantasy VII didn't exist? And no, is the answer.
Final Fantasy VII was
I think a lot of
was a
people like Final
victory,
Fantasy VII.
a
I think that
victory of
might be quite a
marketing
harsh statement.
over anything else.
Say that again.
Final Fantasy VII was just a
You haven't
victory
played.
of marketing.
You've like the bits you've referenced are all in like the first.
No, I was in
couple of hours.
I was in a slum at one point. Yeah,
This is still very early stuff.
look.
I got to like
See that it's that attitude. Hold on, Tom. Hold on. Hold on.
I also think that's brilliant. I also think
It's this
great.
attitude which reaches absolute fucking nadir or zenith, depending on which one you look at it. With Final Fantasy pissing 13, where it's like, oh no, you're only in the first
No,
2 hours. Wait to get the first 13 hours aren't
I'm
very
not-
good. The first 20 hours are.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you are making a statement about the entire game based on the early stuff and the marketing. Whereas, there is a very, very fun RPG.
Yeah,
there
I
to
saw all
find as
all
well.
the main parts. Someone gets stabbed. It's meant to be emotional, but it just looked like
And then you do
By that
some-
time in your life, you
They
just
do
had no
some
room for
snowboarding.
emotion.
I was
something
just
at some
like,
point.
oh, this looks terrible.
Chocobos.
Jesus.
Was there a space casino?
Chocobos are great.
Was
Chocobos
there
are
a space casino
brilliant.
or a casino?
Yeah.
That's as far as I got. I got stuck on there. Don't know how far that was, but that's as far as I
Shit.
got. And it was rubbish.
I had a lot of fun with that game. I don't think it has aged that well. I think you're right. If they released it now, it would be a bit weird to play it. I think it was a
What
very,
is
very good
the
game.
best PlayStation game?
Original PlayStation.
Yes.
I think best is a bit too
Your
loose.
best. Your
My
favourite.
favourite is Resident Evil. Maybe tied with Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid when that came out, I was
Metal Gear
like, oh
Solid
my
was the best.
life, what the
Metal Gear Solid was
fuck
the
is
best PlayStation
this?
game.
What, Resident Evil over Resident Evil 2?
Yeah. Resident Evil 3 over Resident Evil 2. Yeah, I
think
know.
maybe International Track and Field.
Good game. Good shout.
Hold on.
I haven't played that, but
Hold on, have we
judging by what
discussed
you
our
two just
international
said-
track and field techniques yet?
Bash the buttons.
No, shut up, Dave.
Yeah, exactly, Dave. That's fucking,
Bash the button.
Yeah.
Dave, that's fucking loser talk.
I got fast fingers.
How?
Yeah.
I'm good with my fingers.
How fast were you at 100 meters?
Like that.
Was it like 6.8 seconds?
Yeah.
Probably not.
My friend's brother could do the 100 meters in 6 seconds.
Yeah.
And with a weird thing where he'd balance the pad on his knee so that the
If you use the shoulder pads, that's the way to do it.
Well, I mean, everyone had a different interpretation. I was terrible. One of my mates used to like pin it between his knees and like hammer it.
How is that better than?
Well, the pad. But you know, another one of my friends, his brother, I thought I was pretty good at track and field because you know I'd hold the pads kind of with my like gripping it over the top of the pad and like
You guys have.
But he was like
crazy.
But
You get wet to my theory.
yeah. But his brother was like, mate, I've done the 100 meters in 6 seconds. And I bollocks. And so he sat down and 2-player, and I was like, okay, this is a really weird setup. And he had the pad balanced on his knee, so the right prong was over the just off of his right knee, and you pressed was it square and circle to run?
You could do whatever you wanted. I think you could customize it.
And yeah, so he would start hammering circle like this, and the tilt on the pad on his knee would send it up and down to hit. So his finger would hit square.
That's
so
incredible.
just do it like that, and go. And obviously, you wouldn't have to have the muscle going up and down. So it just goes, and he just went pew out of shot. So much that the camera didn't even see my guy, and he just stood up and went,
We used to.
"There you go, mate."
That's amazing.
That is clever. Probably cleverer than what we used to do. We used to use a coin.
Right.
Used to
This sounds
hold
legal
the controller,
already.
Hold the controller so that we set it up so you use the shoulder buttons instead of the face buttons, and you'd get a coin and slide it across the two really quickly. And that was...
Is that acceptable?
That was
like in
that, or we sometimes
people used to use lighters.
Was there a rule book?
That's the daily Thompson decathlon method on Spectrum. The ZX keys would run, and so you would do that. You'd like have something like a coin or.
The problem is,
I think
it did cut a groove into our control.
Yeah,
But
it was worth it. You
Why
can't
the
do that
hell?
now.
Why the hell haven't they brought international track and field out for new gen?
Because
Like that'd be amazing online.
Yeah, but it was very.
Think of the competition. That'd be great.
They'd have
Ghosts
to-
maybe or whatever.
It would have to be
Leaderboards.
a bit cartoony though, wouldn't it?
It doesn't matter how they do it.
So try to make it all serious.
Make it £10 download, £20 maybe.
There was that
Great.
fucking Athens game, 2004.
Yeah, they all went
Pierce
shit. They all went
totally-
rubbish.
The last good one was on the DS. That was quite good.
The last good one was the PS1
So
original.
the thing about track and field was that you hammered 2 buttons and you tried to do it quicker than other people.
And it was timing
It was
as well.
great.
You think that should be brought to new
Bratters.
gen?
Bratters, honestly, it was
sounds
good.
Just don't talk about stuff you don't know about.
That is that fun.
Remember when you ever go at me about talking about bloody, I don't know, pissy indie thing?
Wow, good.
Remember that?
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
has gone dark.
this is
isn't it?
you
This
with track
conversation's
and field.
turned.
Okay.
Yeah, loads of good games.
Yeah.
Conor McRae Rally. All
Yeah, that
sorts.
was brilliant.
And
And
getting-
2 in particular was amazing.
And the PlayStation popularity, I think, not obviously all of it, but some of it was built upon the fact that everyone cottoned on very, very quickly that it was incredibly easy to chip. And
I never did that though.
did you not?
I was always kind of tempted, but I never did.
Did you not know someone who could do it?
No, I don't think
Everyone
they
knew
did.
someone. Like that was a whole new business thing. That was like if The Apprentice was on now.
They'd have an
One of
episode about that.
their 250 grand plans would be, I'm just going to chip loads of PlayStations. Like that's how big it was. Like a guy would come to you,
To be honest, Alan, I don't really know why I'm here. I don't need you for this.
with a list of games, and you go, yeah, that new Star Wars fighting game was good. Yeah, how much? £3? All right, yeah, 2. Although I once changed Marvel's superheroes out for Masters of Terraskazi, and I was very upset when I played that thing. I was like, this is the worst fucking game I've ever played.
I'm going to download the PS4, PS1 theme immediately as soon as I get into my house tonight.
You know-
it is glorious.
You know, if you go onto YouTube and just type PS1 opening or PS1 intro or PS1 theme, you can just listen to it
he
whenever
doesn't
you
get
want.
it, does he?
It's
He's
my
not really
favourite
a
of all the,
console guy so
I know.
much.
I'm a big fan of the PlayStation theme. I think it's lovely. It reminds me of playing Duke Nukem as a child, which I think says that my parents.
What a weird mem-
I don't know. I always
That's
link
an
it to
odd
that.
association with that
Duke
theme.
Nukem.
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it just tells me that
It
my
makes
parents
sense, though.
probably made a terrible parenting decision and let me
And
play
the
Duke Nukem.
PlayStation version also had a very weird saving system where, it didn't have an auto save or anything. You could soft save within the without the need for a memory card. I think so. In the machines like RAM or whatever, it would save. But then if you turn the machine off, you'd
it's
lose all.
Can you imagine that these days though? Memory cards, and because I remember thinking, what data should I
Vita?
delete? No, but like you're actually losing game saves. You couldn't back them up.
But you did get animated memory card icons.
You
yeah,
could back them
you
up.
did. Oh,
you just
man.
had to buy another memory card and then transfer.
Yeah, no, I know
across.
that, but you know, it's not like you can hook them into a PC and transfer them across there and all that. You got to make that decision of, do I spend 20 quid on another memory card or do I just sack off Crash Bandicoot 3? You know what I mean?
Definitely.
You look at the save icon for it and you can't.
I know, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Were they animated on PS1 or was that PS2
I don't think
that
they
started
were.
doing
I
that?
thought they were on PS1.
I don't think
There were
so.
little squares on PS1,
I'm sure
weren't
they
they?
animated. Mate, I thought they did something, I'm sure. They
PS2
did.
definitely was animated.
Matthew fucking Broder, who's a guy I went to school with, and I hope he's fucking dead.
Wow.
I lent him my PlayStation. Obviously, he's a big Resi fan.
Obviously.
Completed it under 3 hours. You get the rocket launcher and all that shit. So, but I lent him my PlayStation because he wanted to play some fucking game.
He didn't.
And I got it back, and I was like, "What's happened to the memory card?" And he was like, "Oh, I saved my game." I was like, "What game was it?" And it was something called Overblood. I think it was called it was like another survival horror game. And I was like, "You have saved over my sub 3 hour Resident Evil game save." And he was like,
Did you then get some chocolate?
I just was like, "Wow, this has ruined things, hasn't it?" But Matthew Broder was a he's a nice guy, but he was incredibly
Bit of a prick.
bit of a knob,
he's a
wasn't he?
nice guy.
If you're going to overwrite,
He's a nice
someone
guy, and he
else's
just
save.
but he seemed like he'd done it by mistake. It didn't seem malicious. So I was like, "Okay, Broder, that's
a minute
fine."
ago, you hoped he was dead.
No, I hope he's dead now.
Oh.
But at the time, I was, obviously a bit less cynical, and I just thought, no, well, everyone makes mistakes, and I was
Yeah, it
very
seems like a
mad.
nice mistake. I
But
hope he's
now,
dead.
having
Like,
had
I
like
hope
years and years to
cold on
reflect
the
on
ground.
it, I hope that when I go home to St. Neots for Christmas, I can go and see his grave and go and drop and just put the memory card down on there and go, "There
Have that,
go.
you."
Have that, you cunt."
I was going to say that, but I couldn't.
Roy Keane style. No, I'll probably see Broder. I hope you're doing well, mate. And I'll see.
I think you
you
really
in the.
saved it there.
I'll see you in the Priory on
Yeah.
Christmas Eve.
I think,
Blimey, I
you
was
really pulled it back.
13. I was 13 when V Rally 2 came out. Jesus.
When you suffered the indignity
Yeah,
of.
thought I was younger than that, but
When
okay.
you got,
But yeah,
when you
hold
experience
on,
what
Dave.
no person
Before we
should
move on,
experience.
before we need to talk about the fact that you had to turn it upside down to make it. I had
Yeah,
to
the laser,
manually
yeah.
reset the laser
I'd never
to make it run
heard of this.
games.
Yeah, you did. You had to flick it, didn't you? Or
Mhm.
turn it on its side sometimes. It's basically, you had to turn it in 360 degrees and see when it started loading the game up.
Yeah.
Most of the time, just turn
That
it on
doesn't
its
sound
side.
like a thing that you should do with a console that has a disc.
They was a
spinning
dodgy laser.
inside it.
PS2 had dodgy lasers. Like after a while, it stopped reading CDs,
I
which
feel
were
like you
blue
should never
discs.
move a console when it's got a disc
DRA.
inside it at all.
Well, the thing was, the
different back
PlayStation
then,
is that
Bratters.
it wasn't. There was no.
It was
So
just-
with the
yeah,
PlayStation 2, you could take the top of it. I had to do this to fix the DRE, the disc read error thing, where you could remove the top of the PlayStation
Right.
2. It was like when Darth Vader gets his helmet taken off, and it had like a shock dampener on top of the disc reader.
Really? I didn't do any of this.
Yeah. So
Wow.
and you would take that off, and then underneath would be a white cog, and you would have to rotate the cog round to adjust the laser, because you can actually get to the laser. In the PlayStation, you can just grab it with your hand and move it.
You've said the words to adjust the laser. This sounds freaking cool.
And
I mean,
and yeah, but with
let's do
the
it.
so you would be, if you moved the machine like that, obviously it had a lot of working parts that you couldn't get to. With the original PlayStation, all of the parts were there. Like if you just open the disc drive, like I think later iterations they covered the track on which the laser moves, but in the original ones it was just totally bare bones. You could just run the whole machine
touch
with
the laser. You could touch the little. Was it floating
You
in
could
something?
touch the
Yeah.
laser. That sounds
you could run the
dangerous.
machine with the lid open.
But what was it floating
There was
in?
no danger for moving it.
Because I would. This is probably how it broke. But I would touch it every now and then. I'm like, that feels like it's floating in water.
It was
even
the-
though it wasn't.
Wasn't it like a diode that was housed in a little black cube, which then was on a track which moved back and forward?
I was
So-
amazed
That
by
feels
it.
like it's flowing in
We need to
water.
buy a PlayStation
Floating.
today.
Floating.
It was like a little eye.
And
Sitting
yeah,
there
it
like,
was.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did
And
you ever get conned into buying one of those discs that had the brushes on?
Yes. Yeah.
Like that's going to fix it. It's
A
gonna
lens
just
cleaner.
Clean that lens.
Yeah.
The
Jesus
brushes.
Christ.
It's like a
What a
CD
time.
with brushes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a time to be like a CD with brushes.
Yeah.
But SmackDown would
You guys were stupid.
would not run unless I turned the machine upside down. And I was like, okay, SmackDown. It's and also this spindle which you put the disc on, it had in the earlier iterations, I think it had 3 distinct parts.
4.
Was it 3 or 4? Which
The little ball bearings?
Yeah, which made it up so the disc would fit on. They just had a habit of coming off because you had to manually remove the disc, and at a certain angle it would obviously put pressure on it. Once they went, you were totally. I mean, the build quality was shit. Like it's almost like they nearly finished it and went, "It's nearly Christmas."
A bit like
Should we
PS4.
Yeah. Great times though. Great times. The original PlayStation. A whole new world.
Yep.
Yeah.
And here we are, 20
3D
years
graphics.
later.
I remember watching a video very quickly before we wrap up. A video of Wipeout before I got it. I was watching it on TV, And as you go up the ramp and then you go down suddenly over the edge, I remember thinking my stomach started churning. I was like, wow, I'm on a ride, even though I was just watching the TV. I was like, I need this right now. This is amazing.
Wipeout sold, you must have seen it, we talked about it, the demo pods in Toys R Us, and they had the one, and the Toys R Us by me had this, I think it had a Mega Drive or a SNES, a Saturn and a PlayStation lined up, and you could press a button to switch the input. And the Saturn would have had Virtua Fighter of some description, and the PlayStation had Wipeout. And Virtua Fighter was amazing for its time, but everyone was like, fuck that noise. But the hovering, when I put it in first person, the hovering of the craft just kind of like bobbing up and down. I was like, this is it. This is the future
hard,
now.
though. The original Wipeout was
Too hard.
Yeah.
Oh, nostalgia.
Memories.
Where's my NES belt buckle?
It was nice, wasn't it? I mean, that intro did get...
All of this took
bit
place
carried away.
before your conception.
Yeah, but it's a 20th, let's just do a 20th anniversary special.
lovely.
There we go. No one wants to know about what other video game news is there. Assassin's Creed Victory was leaked. No, it wasn't. They went, shit, the last game we made was fucking...
I don't know. I thought that may be about Unity, but I'm not so
Just
sure
so
about
everyone's
it.
They're always leaked. They're leaked every... It's like, when there's a game leak, like Modern Warfare 3, you get everything. Or you get like blurry screenshots. You don't get a posed lead character sitting looking over Big Ben and like all of London and Westminster with synchronized. That's not what you get.
Just so everyone's clear, when Steve just said the word leaked, he then tried to roll his eyes very dramatically. Just so
I'm
everyone
very good at
understands that.
They claim it was an intentional leak.
Yeah, well, obviously.
No, but not Ubisoft Kotaku. They say it wasn't intentional.
Wow. What? So what happened? It wasn't in.
No, it wasn't Ubisoft's intention for it to be leaked.
Okay. I wish I hadn't leaked this.
I've watched. I feel like I'm referencing the West Wing every episode at the moment, but in the West Wing, if you want to leak something, you don't do it through the press office. You go through the back channels. Like you don't show that you've leaked it.
Exactly. You're like, what's this? I've got a screenshot.
Just falls into the right lap at the right time.
You leave a screenshot in the back of a taxi. The taxi driver's like,
Wasn't Assassin's Creed 4 leaked on
a plane?
Yeah.
Someone looked over someone's shoulder and it was on a presentation.
No, weren't they talking to them about it?
But then they get a picture of it as well.
Yeah, and then seconds later, I was at some super twatty event in London with like professional
That sounded
actors.
like total horseshit.
Yeah, it's like you've really cobbled this together, guys. Seeing as your man on the plane, and unfortunately, you just leaked it like seconds earlier. Bollocks. Like, who gives a shit about Unity now? Everyone's thinking, London, great.
Because that was a gaff. Was it a gaff poster?
Possibly, yeah.
There are people from publishers on gaff. I think people forget that there's some stealth accounts on there that claim to be...
and some not so stealth accounts.
Who was it? I can't remember who exactly it was. I'm sure it's someone at Sega, though, that was... When was Sonic called Project Needle Mouse? Was that Sonic Generations?
That was Generations.
It should always be called that. That's
and I'm sure someone at Sega... This could be a dream, so please. But I could swear, I could put money on it, that someone told me that there was a gaff account where they asked, what would you like to see from Sonic? And it was posed as like a fan question. Right? And it was when they were sort of putting Needle Mouse together and thinking, what can we do to take Sonic back? And it was actually Sega's marketing, essentially. But
why not?
But there are some...
that was probably terribly off the record and I shouldn't have said it, but there you go.
there's some...
Years ago now.
There are some genuine leaks. Like, outside of video games, someone was tweeting about a year or so ago that they were in the US and they were like a famous journalist, and they tweeted saying, "I'm on a train and one of the cabinet ministers for the US government is sitting on the train seat behind me, and he's on the phone to someone talking about all the announcements they're going to make in the next 2 days." And he just live tweeting, and then he said, "Oh no, the guy's turned around and recognised me," because obviously he's been called on his other phone going, "Mate, you need to shut the fuck up." And then he got a photo of both of them like, way. So you got to be careful. But that is a leak. Like these sorts of leaks. Nah.
You think they're controlled leaks?
Obviously, like PR for Ubisoft this year.
I don't know. I think this could be quite damaging for them though. This one.
Nah, London. I'm excited about
it because there were people out there and kids. I know kids shouldn't be playing it, but there were people out there who maybe buy 4 or 5 games a year, and they've said, "Oh, I fancy Assassin's Creed for Christmas," and they've seen this one leaked, and they've gone, "Actually, I'm a lot more interested in that one. Looks a lot better. So they'll go, oh, Mum, can I have something else
Yeah,
instead? And I'll get that next
I
year.
feel like
know,
if you're aware enough of seeing like those kind of pictures, you're probably also aware of the kind of general
I
reaction
don't know.
to
They
Unity.
spread.
at the
They
moment.
spread.
And so maybe it's like on the flip side, isn't it a good way to?
Yeah, but that's
kind
not
of-
Unity. That's not an indication of what Unity's like.
I know, but you'd be aware of that. So if you were thinking about buying Unity, there's been quite a negative reaction to that release.
But would a leaked picture of Victory make you want to go out and buy Unity?
It's not what I was.
I don't know what you're trying to get at.
But it doesn't need to point you towards sales. It just needs to point away from all of the controversy.
Yeah, that's
distract people away from it.
Pretty much. And
I don't think they'll be distracted away from that though. I don't think they'll make much of a difference. It might last night for.
You're
2
talking
hours,
about
but
an audience of people where at least one of them has paid $2,500 for an amiibo with 2 guns on it.
I know, but as soon as the next patch for Unity comes out and it's still just as fucked as it was before it, they're still going to go, oh, Unity's like broken, isn't it? I don't think it will take people's mind off of that.
How good would Assassin's Creed Unity have been if it was on the PS1? The crowds have had like 3 people in them, and they would have all just looked like trying. It would have been like Thomas was alone, but like in France. So yeah, should we move on?
I guess so. Makes sense.
Thanks, PlayStation.
We
But
should have had
seriously.
Jimmy for Victory, so we probably can't really. Well, we can.
Ah,
not
well,
much more to say, is there?
Thanks, Ken Kutaragi.
Looks good.
He said he was quite excited, and then just started talking about Victorian, like historical figures.
All sorts of theories,
England and
though.
Victoria
What
that
if
he
you are
wants to
Jack
see
the Ripper?
and kill?
I'm not sure. See, that's a bit morally grey, isn't it?
Yeah, not
Well,
sure
it
about that.
is, but you are playing someone who goes around killing people,
Yeah, but
which is also morally grey, no?
yeah, but
Yeah, but he
the
actually- he
Jack the
actually
Ripper
did.
dismembered
Yeah.
prostitutes in a very
Oh,
kind of
I
surgical
understand
manner.
that's a bit much.
And people related to
But-
those people, they can trace their families back to those incidents.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
then this
sure
has- yeah.
it's that cool to do that.
No.
Who knows?
Well done, Braz. Well argued.
All
All
right.
right, let's move on now.
That was 20 years of PlayStation. We're pretty much at the end of the podcast anyway, so I hope you haven't got
Are
any games
we?
to talk about. Yeah, we rambled.
Let's move on to the questions, isn't it?
Okay.
Because there's some good
Are we not
questions.
going to talk about the crew
No,
briefly?
fuck the crew.
But myself and Tom have been playing it.
Yeah?
Quite a bit.
Right, you've got 35 seconds to talk about the crew.
I don't think it's very good. Tom thinks it's good.
I don't know. I think it's better than the beta suggested it was, which does not mean it's good. It just means it's not awful at the
Okay.
moment.
Is it a game about driving around in America and looking at nice things?
Well, it's going about driving around America. I don't know about looking at nice
The
things.
amount of stuff, the size of it is its main plus point, I think, at the moment.
Okay.
That there's a lot of variety, and like,
Is it an MMO?
Well, I've played it for about 3 or 4 hours so far.
Yep.
And it fails entirely as an MMO.
Why?
Because it is more of a pain in the arse to play with people than it is to play by yourself.
Shit. Total failure.
Do you have to like set up a crew and like,
Yeah.
well, you can kind of use people that are in the session as you, same session.
You
Okay.
still have to wait for them to join. It's not like
They
you can
often
sort of go
refuse
up and
and
it's
stuff.
dynamic and they're there and you join a game.
Mhm, like an MMO.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Good.
I
It's
still
all
feel
right.
exactly the same about the
I'm
crew.
playing it and it's okay and, leveling up's cool and, yeah. But
Quite like going around
I'm sitting there thinking,
finding
why?
all the stuff,
But why? Why are we doing it? What purpose are we serving?
because it's a review. You've got to play it.
No, I know, but if you were reviewing it, would you play
I
it?
don't know. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. That's basically where I am at the moment.
Okay, that's not much of a
No.
positive comment, but all right, cool.
He prefers it to me.
Okay, good 35-second chat there, guys.
Nah,
Appreciate it.
way longer than that. Go.
All right, should we move on to some questions?
Yep.
I think so. Let's see. We've got Kamito Man asking, can you think of any video games that are now banned under the new UK porn rules?
Jeez.
I don't know.
Well, you were very upset about this, Bratters, and understandably so.
Yeah, it was-
But I was surprised you
I
were
think
quite as vocal about it as you were.
I think maybe Dragon Age Inquisition has. You get that phone away from that fucking microphone.
Doing
David
that, I'm
Scammell.
doing that right now.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dragon Age Inquisition gets pretty crazy at some points. You finish
What,
that
it's fisting?
you finish that romance with the Iron Bull, and you'll see some stuff.
You see it on his face?
That's what I'm saying. If we kind of answered stuff about 20 years of PlayStation. How much is Burns looking forward to Jurassic World and The Force Awakens? What a Burns-centric question that is. It doesn't matter what the rest of us think.
I think The Force Awakens will actually be okay. I think Jurassic World's going to be shit.
Yep, I agree. Assassin's Creed in London. Shit, stop talking about the things that come up in the questions, guys.
Sorry, man.
Just on the pulse of gaming news.
Can we get some more VG versus videos? Absolutely not. What
Why
is your
not?
Christmas game this year? Asked Gareth Academy.
Oh,
Anyone got a Christmas game?
I might do Far Cry 4 again.
Yeah, that is a great one. I think like the kind of Ubisoft approach, having loads of stuff to kind of delve into, is perfect for Christmas.
Yeah.
Dragon Age Inquisition is a really good one. If any of you guys want to play that,
Yeah, I might do Dragon Age.
I'd be a brilliant Christmas.
I might go back to The Evil Within for Christmas.
Oh, yeah?
Which sounds, it's not very Christmassy, is it?
Not really, no.
It is
But I
quite-
did play
it's quite
Dead Space 2 on Christmas Day.
Is it?
so-
What's festive about Evil Within?
Well, it depends where you spend Christmas. If you spend at my house, it's very festive.
Fair enough.
In fact, my Christmas game is just going to be constantly pressing next on Netflix to watch all 5,000 episodes of Bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good Christmas right
I've fallen pretty hard into WoW. I think that
Bratters.
might be my Christmas. Not going to talk to the
I thought you
family.
were looking a bit like
Pale.
dirty.
Thanks.
You still haven't had your hair cut either.
Listen,
Would you like to
told
tell the boys and girls at home why this is?
No, you keep bringing this up.
Not on the podcast.
You did it last week.
All right, well, let's have an update since. You still haven't had your hair
I tried
cut.
to go for a haircut. My train was delayed by 15 minutes, and I missed my slot. It's not that interesting.
Why can't you just go to a barber's?
I have to go somewhere where I feel comfortable.
No, you want to go somewhere where you're presented with a champagne as you walk in the door.
It's a beer, actually. Thank you very much.
What happens when you're having
it's
your hair
champagne
cut?
at
You
mine.
can't hold the beer, though, can you?
Oh, it can be.
Yeah, you put it
But all the hair will go in the
no,
beer.
you put it looks like a shelf in front. You know,
Then you have to time the sip.
yeah, you got to kind of nail that, to be honest.
Yeah, that is
sounds
difficult.
bad.
I've had drinks at my hairdressers and some hairs falling. I just think
Yeah. Also, a bottle, you know, it's just
bottle's fine.
It's a
'cause you
small
just,
opening point. Yeah.
yeah, just you could even put thumb over it.
You
Why-
don't try and drink whilst they're around your ears. I'd say that's probably the first thing you really need to
Yeah,
think about. 'Cause yeah.
Why haven't you returned to the Tony and Guy downstairs?
Why do you need to know that?
Well, I'd like to know.
There is one on our doorstep.
I know.
There is, and you did go in there originally.
I got warning belt. Like it's. I'm not comfortable there. Something
You
about
think
it was wrong.
You think it's a front or something else?
I don't know. I think everything was how it appeared in Tony and Guy, and I'd rather not risk it.
But the person you spoke to seemed lovely.
She was,
She invited you in.
to,
She set your appointment.
and I didn't go. Okay. Let's see.
I don't get to play a Christmas game then, Bratters, do I?
Sorry, we'll carry.
Do I get
Is it
one?
Diablo 3 by any
It
chance?
is actually. Yeah, it's down the road.
It's just implied.
Yeah.
I've actually. I'm level 43 now, and I've completed Act 3.
Do you know what class you play at?
The fighty man.
God damn it! To be fair, last time I tried to figure out what class you were, and I got it completely
Apparently, people talk about Diablo 3
wrong.
in depth.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
I'm not sure.
You just kill things
pick them up.
all the time.
Yeah, so that is perfect for Christmas, I guess. Then again, your Christmas is going to be like, you know, you've
I
got
won't have much time
you've
to
got
play
a child
games,
to
no.
entertain and buy
Yeah.
PlayStations 4 or whatever you do. I don't know.
Rather than watching Bottom Burns, you got to watch Inglorious Bastards.
Be very careful what you say here, Dave, because you know, in terms of defamation, I think that you're about to step over
Yeah.
No.
many legal lines. I'm not even going to justify any of this because I don't have to. Because I don't.
Okay.
Well,
fine. No one said you did.
Braz, cut all of this.
Yeah,
If any of this
don't even
goes
mention
out,
Inglorious
if any
Bastards.
of this
Just
goes
go
out,
back before that.
I will fucking sue this company so fast it'll be unreal.
Yeah,
You'll
I
be
feel
in
a bit mean.
You'll be in the
thing
high
about how
court.
you like. Thought that was a bit much.
Yeah, I definitely didn't like Dave.
No,
Definitely not.
Jeez. I mean, what just happened?
you've got a bit of editing to do that. Hello, people at home. We've had a big discussion. We went a bit too far, and you're now joining us about 15 minutes later.
And whose fault was that, Dave?
What's the next question?
We've got one about. I think Jim and I mentioned Telltale Games. We were talking about Tales from the Borderlands, and we kind of compared their release schedule to like Ubisoft. I think quite offhand. But someone asked, why do you think that Telltale seem to get more leeway for effectively reskinning the same game, whereas Ubisoft apparently don't? I don't know that they do get that much more leeway.
I would say reskinning.
None of them reskin. They just use the same systems every game. Don't they?
I think that's
the
what.
thing.
Yeah, that's what was implied. You know what? If you do play Tales from the Borderlands, I think one of the best things that it does is that it plays on your expectations of what a Telltale game will do. So the way it tells the story, you kind of expect certain things to happen. Or we talked about this in the video. Actually, it's not really a spoiler. It's a two-character thing, right? There's like a Hyperion chap and someone from Pandora, and they're explaining the story in a flashback. And they'll be explaining something, you'll play through it, and it turns out they may have just been lying, and so you just played through a situation that never happened because they're trying to impress someone that they're telling the story
pretty
to.
cool.
And it yeah, it completely catches you off guard because of that, and it even puts like the telltale choices that you expect into those situations. And
didn't another game do that recently-ish, where you played through what someone was telling you?
was it Call of
Was it
Juarez?
Gunslinger or something?
I think so.
One of those games, I'm
Yeah.
sure, did something.
Yeah, it's a very similar kind of idea.
Yeah, Gunslinger did that.
And yeah, also like it just it does some really kind of funny jokes with how the Telltale systems work. Like like some of the kind of QT stuff that it presents to you doesn't always work how you're going to expect. It doesn't just play around with the Borderlands universe. It also plays around with you thinking this is a normal Telltale game. So I think they know that. I think they know that their games have a very similar structure. I think this one really shows that they can mess around with that.
Isn't the difference that in Ubisoft games the mechanics are the end essentially, whereas in Telltale games the mechanics, QT stuff, is the means to the end. So there's something different based on the choices you make, which isn't necessarily the same in certain Ubisoft games where, say, for Assassin's Creed, you just go and do the same things, and the outcomes generally aren't a lot different. Whereas in Telltale games, you push the story and actually get something out of it like that. So I think that's the difference. And they're smaller and a lot more easily digestible.
Yep. And they're attached to some franchises people fucking adore.
That's the main
which
thing.
helps, doesn't
Also,
it?
they should make a Telltale series on the Shield.
Or Battlestar Galactica.
No,
The Godfather.
The Shield.
Telltale presents The Godfather.
We've all just done it there, haven't
Sonic the Hedgehog.
we? You're right. Okay. Good. Thanks, Dave.
He's got the whole thing written out already.
Yeah.
If a representative of Telltale wants to get in touch with David Scammell, he's got.
We have to run over a bridge
That's-
to pretend that you're Sonic.
Yeah. Can we get a copy of that, by the way?
Of
Of
The video.
your home video of you dressed up.
I'll have
like
to
Sonic the
I'll have to
Hedgehog.
ask because they're quite prized possessions.
Can't you get a copy?
I need like a converter though because it's all on VHS.
Just take it to a shop, Dave.
I don't know what a VHS is. That's
You don't know what
Examinations.
VHS is.
no.
Right, look, it's the 20th anniversary of PlayStation, which means we've got to get out of here and go back and oversee our own super hyper exclusive interview led PlayStation 20 celebration, which is going up today. So let's wind this up. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much for listening, and thank you to my co-host Stephen Burns, David Scammell, and co-hosts plural, and Tom Ori,
Right,
the
fine.
argumentative Tom Ori.
You done that thing yet, Brett?
I don't know what the thing is.
I'm so sorry about all the editing that you have to do today.
Just any time that I say, don't defame me, that's when you just cut.
Okay. Cheers.
Don't even say, don't defame me, because that makes it seem like there's something that could actually...
Are you making me cut this bit right now?
Right, all of it. I'm going to delete it all.